Okay, into Nagasaki, we have Tamaryokucha, made by Forthees. An interesting, somewhat Dutch-looking name. Really fragrant. Oh, so much. So much tea in this bag. So let's do I got 2 bags, so we'll do standard first. Good standard Japanese green tea colors, so dark olive, moss green, olive yellow, like 80-20, or maybe 80-19-1. The olive yellow is very, very minor in here. It smells very fragrant, fruity, citrusy is not correct, tropical, guava-like. In the guava passion fruit zone, but more like guava. Yeah, very, very guava. It smells like juice. Also kind of smells pink, but so guava juice is pink. But I guess it could also be guava grapefruit. A little bit of both. The acidity smells high, if I didn't say that already. It reminds me of a cocktail that I had in Thailand when I was like 18. It was on a beach. It's called a salty dog. And it's like gin and salt and stuff. And I think there's a cocktail called Greyhound, which is kind of similar. Maybe it's because they're both dog-related things. That's why I think so. And I've made plenty of cocktails with grapefruit and gin. I suspect the reason why it reminds me of that is the saltiness. The saltiness and the grapefruit together. Yeah, I'm not really sure what it is. Like, maybe it's because I just got out of the shower. Maybe it seems like the aroma of the tea is dry, very dry, and it's like irritating the inside of my nose with almost this saltiness. But it does smell great. It smells very intense. I am looking forward to it. Okay. Well, let me get that water. So the water is actually just cooling down. I have it measured out. Well, I could probably do a little bit more diligent smelling work here while I have the chance. It seems like a lemon tart in a sense that it does smell like sweet lemon or citrus. Yeah, it does smell citrusy too. But so when we did lemon tarts at the restaurant Q, we did a layer of chocolate between the lemon curd and the pie crust. So I suppose I was introduced to that chocolate lemon flavor through this lemon tart. And I suspect if you were to make a lemon tart, or even perhaps a guava tart would be really good, if possible, which I don't see why it wouldn't be possible. That should be pretty close to this if you did like a chocolate layer as well. Alexa, stop. Okay. Alexa, start a timer for 2 minutes.
2 minutes, starting now.
So that water was cooling for 2 minutes, and yeah, I mean, I could smell it more, but I suppose I'll smell this instead. It's pretty hazy off the bat, kind of a dark green. Looks good. The freshness, the fruitiness is kind of gone. So this water should be like 70-ish degrees. Well, currently there's not really anything going on in there. It smells like nothing. I'm actually gonna get a strainer. I don't think I have one here. Pause this. Boom. I'm not counting, but any second now, I think. Ha. Intuition. Alexa, stop the timer. It's like when you wake up in the morning and you hit snooze and you just know your clock is gonna ring again. So you grab your phone at the exact time. Do it every morning. It's very cool. Maybe that's just me. So that's pretty dark, pretty hazy as well, as to be expected from such a powdery tea. Can barely see this pencil on the other side. No detail. I wouldn't be able to read text. Can kind of make out something. Say that's a 3 out of 10 for the clarity. This smells somewhat fruity in a jam-like cooked fruit sense. And it brings me back to, what was it called? Cloudberry, a little bit. Not quite there, but the top notes, I think, are pretty similar. Jammy yellow. And I think there's not much stuff that can make a good yellow jam except cloudberry. Because cloudberry is also kind of green tea smelling. Japanese green tea smelling. There is a pungency. The pungency is related to a baked note, and that baked note is bringing me into the cocoa world. Close, but not quite that close that I would confirm cocoa. It's like brown powder. So close though, I think. Really just the steam is burning my nose. I don't smell much else. Dry brown powder of some type. And some jammy yellow something. Maybe when it cools down a little bit more, it'll be better. So what color do we got? It's kind of like edamame. No, it's a little... It's not quite right. Tough one, tough call. I guess. Well, something makes me think of like golden kiwi. Maybe it's the little black sediment in here. Golden kiwi is more yellow. I need to really brush up on my greens. It's been a while since I've needed to use that kind of vocabulary. Okay. It's pretty weak. I regret not brewing this Senchado style, and I'm going to do that with my next package. It's sad because I feel like there's something at the end, starts like mid-palate, gets to the end, that seems like it could be really exciting. It's just, it's way too weak to see it right now. But then I would say almost everybody would miss that because nobody brews it really that strong. I think this is already rather strong for most people when they brew tea. It's easy drinking. Kind of like, was it the tea before this or two teas before this? There's like, it kind of starts blank and there's nothing really there, but then it kind of spikes up. Well, this one doesn't really spike up quite as hard. However, there's like this really interesting, potent flavor which is kind of hiding in the water. I would say maybe the good thing is that it's not astringent. But the aroma and the flavor, they're like 4 out of 10. And I don't have a way to describe that potency on this graph because it's not the concentration really, there's something different there. Astringency is 0. Finish is 5. And the weight. That might also be 5. Yeah, it's sad that I see so much potential that I'm not tasting. It's kind of, it has the beginnings of how I might describe that kernels, candy popcorn that I get from like Honyama Sencha. Yeah. It's just not strong enough. It's not there. Okay, we're gonna brew it 1 to 10 ratio, 50-degree water, 2 minutes, Senchado, see what happens. I'm gonna pause this for now. Actually, before that, let me just get this out of the way. This wet leaf smells much more on the brown side than the bright fruity side. It is not chocolate though. This is like, what did we do with that? There's a smell. It's kind of, it's like sably cookie. Brittany sably, so it's a sably that's taken pretty dark in the cookie sense. It's baked dark. And we crumble it for a garnish on desserts. I think that's probably the closest thing I can relate to with the aroma. It's not just that though. But I don't know what I'd say. It's like a nondescript green aroma in the back. Sably aroma is like 70%, and then the green aroma, whatever that is. And surely I could figure that out given enough time, but I'm too eager to get into the stronger tea. I'm not going to. Maybe I'll do that later with the other one. Now the amazing thing is that I have 10 grams here, which is so much. I had only 3 grams of the gyokuro, so I could only enjoy so much, but I can get 100 milliliters out of this. It smells, again, it's so fruity. It's not just my imagination going back to it, it's still there. So I'm gonna chill the water down, measure out 100 milliliters, and we'll get to that. Okay, I'm just still chilling down the water. It's still a little hot. So we'll pour it from container to container. I felt like I should say, I wish, always kind of wanted to do like a big push into Japanese cultivars. And you know me, life has had a few sets in the past where I was able to try like many different things. However, still it's not that, my experience is not that vast. I mean, I've tried many, but not to the point where I can say like, oh yeah, this is Koshun. Oh yeah, Shizu 7132. Asatsuyu, etc. I want to be there, and I hope that this course takes me there. But now I can hold the water in my hands like this. It's painful, so I think we're good, but I can hold it. Alexa, start a timer for 2 minutes.
2 minutes, starting now.
Very excited. At least it smells fruity like I hoped it would, and I'm glad about that. However, like the first pot, I think that aroma is still pretty weak. That's okay. It gets stronger. I know that. I'm gonna rinse this off. Well, if you look at that, that's interesting. It's swelled up to take up pretty much the whole container. It's time. And so much of that water went into hydrating the leaf. I don't get very much out of it at all. Okay, let's see. So, pretty, and the camera looks so different than what I can see with my eyes. This is like such a This is an ugly green. On camera it looks so good. It looks actually more brown than green. This water looks like what I would expect a bucket of water in the middle of nowhere in Africa from the side of the road, or Haiti, or some, I don't know, some place that just doesn't have clean water and you just need to purify it and clean it somehow, like what you see in commercials about water quality in third world countries. That's what this water looks like to me. That's what this tea, that really unsafe looking brown. And I get basically a cup. It smells really sweet. It smells like what I was describing earlier, that kind of cloudberry sort of thing. It's way better. But then at the same time, especially comparing to the Gyokuro that I had earlier today, yeah. So it's like where the power is, I suppose I would say. So when you drink this, immediately the attack is super strong, and then it gasses out and there's like no finish to it. There are lingering flavors. Okay, maybe that's not the way I'm trying to say this. There's plenty of lingering flavors, even still, since I had my little sip there. There's still a lot going on. And it's easy to kindle in the mouth just with breathing. But with Gyokuro and other teas, perhaps, when you drink it, there's a beginning, middle, and end. And it's nice to have some development. Like from the beginning, you get this, then there's a middle, then there's an end, and it's kind of this big cohesive thing. This one is like everything in the beginning, and then it just shuts off, and there's nothing left. And you're like, oh, okay, that's what it is. So, I mean, it can be fine, but it's hard to describe. It's astringent, like pretty astringent. However, different from like Darjeeling, where I would say the astringency is very coarse. This is very fine. It's very fine tannins. Hard to describe, really. Flavor is really dark green. I mean, I would say basically it matches the color of the tea pretty accurately, but it doesn't really forewarn you about the astringency. And then now I can kind of feel some bitterness. It's almost medicinal bitter in the least possible way. It'd be like if you chewed on an aspirin pill. It's got that same degree of bitterness, but there's a lot of stuff that takes away from it. So it's like if you chewed aspirin, but then you had a chaser, and then the chaser took away 90% of the aspirin's flavor, but you just had a little bit. So just to quickly judge it, I would say maybe that the aroma is like 5, but then the concentration is 8, and the astringency is 5, and the finish is 7, and the depth is not there, 0, and the weight is 7-ish, something like that. much better to brew it this way than the first way. And then when you smell these wet leaves, nothing really there. But I'm gonna drink a lot of this. We won't waste it. I'll do it off camera though. So, final conclusion. Interesting. Would I buy it? No. It was a nice experience to try. And I think I like this one more than the one I had earlier. So, points to Nagasaki. And looking forward to the Bo Hojicha, which comes next.